Welcome back, you guys. I posted something on my INSTA, STA, INSTA story yesterday. If I say the word, TikTok like literally gets mad. And it got a lot of responses, a lot of mixed responses, and we need to talk about it more in depth because I've been sitting on it, okay? Let me just tell you what I posted. It was a video of a mom and a son, and the text said, your buzz isn't harmless. It doesn't light them up the same way it does to you. The video is trying to say you shouldn't be drinking around your kids. They don't like it. It's not good for them. You know, that's what the moral of the story was. I posted it to my story because I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I can't lie to you guys. My first thought when I saw the video was this is very dramatic, okay? It just seemed like way too serious. Like the mom was just drinking a beer and the kid was opening a present. And then I thought about it more. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, this mom actually might be onto something. Like, this actually might be extremely true and life changing. But then I was like watching it again, and then again, it just seems so dramatic, like the music and the text and the beer and the presents and the kid. I'm like, oh my god, like I don't know what to think. I did a poll and I said, do we think this is dramatic or true? And 52% people said dramatic, 48 said true. I'm like, damn, like this is really cut in half here. And then I got a lot of mixed responses. I'll read you some of them. Yes, this is true because as a child whose mother would get tipsy, it felt very uncomfortable to be around a version of her that was not her usual self. Even though she was not angry or mean, it was confusing to watch her temporarily become a slightly different person but return to her usual self the next day. Another one said, coming from a kid whose parent drank around them every so often, it doesn't affect us, or at least it didn't affect me. I watched my parents get buzzed and have fun and talk about how stuff was for them as a child. If anything, I loved when my parents drank. Another one. My parents have never drank for religious reasons, but my dad always is so miserable and always seems like he hates being around us for any reason. And I've sometimes caught myself wondering if he had something to take the edge off, if it would make any positive memories with him, as opposed to what I do have. Another one said, growing up as a kid, I will always remember the weird gut wrenching feeling being around my mom when she was drinking. I still love her to death, but it just never sat right with me as a kid, and I'll never forget it knowing I'd have to tell my mom something again a few days later because I told her when she was drunk and would 100% forget. It was a bit of disdain and it was just annoying. Another one said, no, my parents drinking casually, even they were never alcoholics, kind of ruined parts of my childhood. Now, this one really stuck out to me. Yes, having an alcoholic father made me realize that all those happy moments when he was in a good, silly mood wasn't because of my company, but more because he was intoxicated. Kind of taints a lot of my memories looking back. There was so many more responses coming from both sides. Now, in my experience, I never saw my mom drunk. I almost never saw her even drink a drink. It wasn't until I was like a teenager that I would see her drink one or two drinks really occasionally. And I did know like she would go out with her friends very rarely, and like I know she would drink then because I would like hear the stories and like see the pictures, but I still have never seen her drunk. And she was married to a man, which was my stepdad, for my whole entire life, like 25 years they were married, and he did not drink, not one sip of alcohol ever, ever. Like he was so against it. He did garden, which I did know about, and I would like try to find it. And one time I did find it, and then I would try to like do it and like blame him for it. Anyway, so there was no drinking in my mom's house. My dad's house, there was drinking, but I didn't pay attention. Like my dad was drinking beer a lot, but I didn't realize how it affected him because he was like so quiet and like never really talked to me anyway, so it didn't really matter. Looking back in hindsight, I do think that there was alcohol induced fights over there because there were some like crazy fights coming out of absolutely nowhere, like from my perspective. And now I understand. Like literally in this moment, I'm realizing it's because of alcohol. But fights would also happen at my mom's house, and there was no alcohol there either. So I mean, I never really picked up on it. I didn't notice anything bad coming from alcohol. If anything, I actually thought it was kind of cool when parents drank because my mom never did. And I was, like I said, I was never really around my dad. Like I was just not used to anyone drinking, and when they did, I kind of thought it was cool. I remember thinking like I really wish my mom would just kind of like loosen up and like drink around me like she does with her friends, because my mom like, and I think a lot of parents in this generation, she closed off the part of her that wasn't a mom. Like I never got to see her as a person. She was strictly a mom to me, and she acted that way and like never really like let me in, you know? And it wasn't until recently that I started seeing her as a person and not a mom. And I think that if she let that part of me in, I think I would have liked her more and we would have got along better, but I just could not see her in any other way. So I used to think that it would benefit our relationship if I just saw her let loose. But now that I am an adult and I am a parent, here is my stance on this. So, first of all, most importantly, if you have kids that are relying on you for survival, then there's no reason that you should be impairing your judgment. And that's exactly what even one drink is going to do. Like, if you have a baby that literally cannot survive an hour without you, you should not be having a drink if you are the person in charge of them. The reality is, if something were to happen, like they were to choke on something, trip, fall, and it was in the presence of you and you were in charge of them, you don't know if that would have happened if you weren't buzzed. And I know that buzzed is it's up for interpretation. To me, it's like one or two drinks. So, Sean, he doesn't drink. He hasn't drank in a long time. So I know that if I am to have a few drinks, that he is sober. Like, I always have a sober person in charge of Jay and Rose because they deserve that. They need that. There's absolutely no reason we both need to be drinking and taking care of them. And Jay, on the other hand, he can survive. Like, if I left him home alone, he would literally be fine. He would be scared, but he would be fine. Rose, she's a baby still. Now that's the way I kind of thought, like before I read these DMs. Like, as long as your kid can take care of themselves, there's no reason you can't get buzzed, right? And then these DMs made me realize, well, if your child's at the point where they can survive on their own, then they're also at the point where they can be embarrassed by you, where they can remember telling you things and you don't remember, where they can notice your behavior is different and it's confusing. So now I'm kind of rethinking how I go about this. I'm starting to think that alcohol and kids just don't mix. Like, if you want to have a few drinks, get a babysitter. Or if you want to drink a few drinks and your baby is with you, then make sure your partner, your mom, or your mother in law, or your father in law is sober and watching them so you can relax and you can let loose. Another factor is your mood, because alcohol can amplify your mood. And if you're going through something or you're really sad or angry, then you probably should not drink around your kid in frequency. If you are going to have a drink at a holiday party, it's obviously not going to traumatize your kid, right? But if you're feeling like you have to get buzzed multiple days of the week, then there's probably an underlying issue that you need to address. Like, we have to be honest with ourselves here. So yeah, that's my stance on this. I am going to continue to think about this because the last thing I want is Jay or Rose to have any negative memories because of alcohol and me. Like, that would be terrible. So I think I just need to keep them separate. I think that's just my safest bet. That's what I've been really doing anyway. But I kind of thought, like, once they grow up, it'll be different. But now I'm kind of rethinking that.